everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Manor Lords. Manor Lords just recently released into early access on Steam and was a highly anticipated and wishlisted game on the platform with more than 4 million wishlists. So clearly this game has captivated a lot of people with what it has to offer. And with that in mind, let's take a look at the game, starting with the gameplay. The gameplay of Manor Lords falls into the genre of city builder. Think cities, skylines, but with a medieval setting. As such, it is mostly a comfy game where you'll get to spend all your time building out your medieval town with buildings, houses, and farmlands. There is a small bit of combat gameplay, but it's really not the focus of the experience. When presented, the combat is reminiscent of a real-time strategy game, and there is even a quote difficulty slider to prevent there from being any combat in the first place. But how about the story? Is there even one? As of right now, the game doesn't have much story. Simply put, all you have to know is that you are a lord of the land and you are to build out your plot. If combat is enabled, you are driving out forces of rivaling lords who are trying to claim the land as their own. Since the game is in early access, they may add more story alongside additions and improvements to gameplay. However, it is not a precedent to add a story to a game of this genre. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat? Can you believe that this is a game made by one guy?
Yeah, that's pretty remarkable.
I know it probably took him a long time, a lot of time and effort to do it, but that really speaks to how much of passion he has for making this game come to be the way it is and continue to get updates as it moves forward through early access. And I'm going to say it, that's also why indie games is the way to go right now. There's so many great projects that are made by small teams like this guy, who's one guy.
I was gonna say one guy.
You know,
not much of a team. He's just commanding his own ship.
yeah. But I mean, hey, that's just. I think that it's really a move towards indie games in the industry right now because there's so many games like this where it's the same sort of situations, like one guy or three guys, just working on something that they want to put out and not have to worry about, oh, the shareholders said we got to put this in the game.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it feels like in the year of the Mamba, 2024, that, indie games have definitely been thriving and more gamers are embracing early access. And yeah, Manor Lords may be in early access, but at least it's not trying to mix Pokemon with firearms like Pal World, a game that probably leaves Pikachu wondering where it all went wrong. Like, Pal World's totally lost sustain for its global audience. And I'm kind of wondering whether Manor Lords can hold on to that. Henrik, what do you think about that?
Well, there's a big difference between those two games, this game and Pal World. Yeah, they're both in early access, but Pal World got a lot of attention because it's a Pokemon-styled game with guns. This is a city builder. The genre and demographic that genre pulls in is people that I'd wager to say are a little bit more patient with just things in general. I mean, you got to be patient enough to play this game,
but that's
because it isn't a fast-paced game.
In a sense, that's true. I agree with you, Henrik. Yeah, it was definitely advertised as being city building, but we also saw some combat gameplay before the release of the early access. And I just gotta say, Henrik, I always like to pull these analogies when I'm describing these video games. And the combat gameplay is like an outnumbered Spartan army from 300. It's entertaining, but not quite reaching the epic scale of Helm's Deep in Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. It's more like a skirmish in the Shire than a battle for Middle Earth. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's trying to redefine, the RTS games with its, pretty cool feature, I would say, where you can go into that first person mode where you can really feel like, you're doing you look into the landscape of your village that you built and you're like, did I just really build that? It's probably the closest thing that I felt in years, like that same experience I got from Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Yeah, that mode where you can go walk around in third person around the town that you've built, that's an awesome addition. And I'm surprised that other games haven't done that yet, because imagine any city builder like City Skylines or Roller Coaster Tycoon. Imagine you could actually hop in to a roller coaster and ride the roller coaster rather than just see it from a top-down view. Like, it's
So
just so much
true.
more thrilling for the people that want that thrilling gameplay, you know?
Well, we have the capabilities now, especially with our suited up rigs that we got with PC gaming, but it's still a catapult shot away from being a complete game. It's more like a castle under construction than a fully fortified fortress. I mean, the city building in Manor Lords can be satisfying as painstakingly crafting, its perfect roller coaster, as I was joking about Roller Coaster Tycoon. But, it's not all quite there as of yet. I want to like the game, but I just feel like, as I was joking around, you can go on strolls through the cobblestone streets at a pace slower than a snail on vacation, but it's still like new features like this that definitely feel like this could potentially be the future of RTS games, but it's not quite there yet. I know it's only a team of one, so it's not quite a team. It's just a one-man army. I would like to see this game expand, but for the moment, Henrik, I'm going to say it's a pause. I want to see a game complete. I just don't understand how we're just like reframing games to be like early access when we just like shitted on for the last 2 years, last 5 years, matter of fact, for games like Cyberpunk 2077, giving us a game that's not fully complete. Maybe that's only because they advertise it as complete, but I just don't know why we keep continuing to purchase games like this when it's clearly there's still a lot of bugs throughout Manor Lords.
Well, yeah, but it's about context at that point because yeah, like with Cyberpunk, they advertised it as a fully fledged completed game, and then you come to find out it's not finished and it didn't really get into a fully finished state until like a couple years later when they had, fixed a bunch of bugs and put out updates and things like that. Whereas with this, it's an early access game, so you're going into it already expecting there to be maybe some bugs, some things that are unfinished, not
So
really
what are you saying? Are you saying
yet.
I'm being a little too harsh on the rating? Are you not agreeing with my verdict?
Well,
It kind of seems like
this
you go. Come on, Chris. Like that's not a
well,
fair
I'm just saying,
assessment.
give it a little bit of slack. Also, it's one
Oh,
dude,
so now we're giving slacks for
but
early access now.
at the
Okay.
same time, I will say this genre is not really my like the city builder genre is not really my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Um, I was interested based on the fact that there's a lot of people interested in the game, and I think that it is a good game. It's not necessarily something I'd go back to all the time. Maybe I'd go back to it during the colder months of the year when you don't want to go outside and it's more of like I want to stay inside and play video games and oh, what can I do to pass the time? Let me play some comfy game like Manor Lords,
Right.
and I think that that is the kind of time frame that this game will probably lend to the best when people are stuck inside and want something comfy to do and not be stressed out with the next
Yeah.
Call of Duty lobby that they're
Well,
hopping
this
into.
kind of style of game even really kind of made me go like, man, like we could really use Age of Empire with this kind of style of
Hmm.
features, and I think that what this one developer's onto,
Yeah,
and
but I will
clearly
say at the
gamers are
same
supporting it.
time, the RTS part of this game is not really at the level of Age of Empires or
Right.
StarCraft or Warcraft, any of that yet. It could get to that point,
Yeah.
but as of right now, it being where it is, it's not really
But it's
fair,
still an
I'd say, to
incredible
compare it.
milestone. I mean, like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
stated in your awesome pause and repeat video, over 4 million Steam users were waiting on that wait list. And it's just incredible to kind of see that, there are gamers out there, especially in the PC community, that support, indie developers. And I think it's so super, super bitching, especially considering some of the news that we'll be exploring later on this episode with new studio closures and layoffs. But we haven't heard it from you yet, Henrik. What are you vibing with when it comes to Manor Lords?
For now, it's a pause, but I'm going to keep my eye on it. And if more updates come out in the future that entice me to come back, that might change.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, who knows? We've never done it before, but do we have a back to back on pause or repeat? We'll have to see. What's
Maybe.
good?